I see it. I see the light in all your faces, and it is so bright that we don't need the light in the chalice today. I invite our musicians to come forward and to lead us in our opening song. Thank you, Beth Wilson, for leading music today.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Gonna keep on moving forward. Join us. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Sigamos Adelante. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back.
So grabbing this one. All right. Can I have the little kids come forward? I need to tell you guys a story. And little kids in hearts, perhaps. Or not. Or are you guys going to stay on the wall and ignore me? Come on up here. Come here. I'll tell you a story. Hey, Alice, come here. Get off the wall. That one's mine. Uh-oh. Okay. I hit the bottom. I got to hip hop this thing like I'm going to rap battle you all. All right. So here's the deal. We are having a fair today. Did you guys know that? Yeah. Okay. So listen. So I got treats for you guys in RE when you guys go to your class. We're going to talk about some more in there. But I'm going to talk to you why we're having a fair today a little bit. Asher, what are we doing? We're trying to fundraise? Absolutely. For what? For the what? For the playground? No, we already got the playground for the most part. We're going to build a new building. I'm going to tell you why, all right? I'm going to read your story. Come on over here. We're going to see if I can do this while also holding this. Charlotte, come stand over here. Stand right here. There you go. Oh, you're going to do the book? All right. All right. There we go. Look at this. All right. So this book is called All the Way to the Top. And it's based on a true story. I want you to know that up the top, okay? So Jennifer was maybe small, but her voice was mighty. Yeehaw! She used to like ride horses. Snowball responds, speeding up from a walk to a trot. And Jennifer loves to go fast, but she knows that soon she'll have less time for riding since she's finally old enough to go to school and can't wait to make friends. She's ready to go. Show them the picture. Who here? A lot of people went to school, but who got new school? Okay. So you started school? Awesome. Okay. So the school walks down the sidewalk to the. She's in a wheelchair. Show them the picture, Charlotte. But stop. A 4-inch curb is a cliff to someone who uses a wheelchair. Her grandma eases her wheelchair over the curb and through. But stop. School says that Jennifer doesn't belong because she uses a wheelchair. She can't get up the steps. Show her the picture. All right, there we go. You're doing a good job there, Charlotte. All right. Instead, Jennifer and her mom find a different school that says she can attend kindergarten, but only for part of the when lunch is over. Is already busy, and she has to go figure out what's going on and how to join in. Since most of the kids have never met someone who uses a wheelchair, her classmates are confused and a little afraid. Have you guys ever met anyone who uses a wheelchair? No? Okay. All right. Well, her friends in her school, or not her friends, I guess, say, "You'll never be one of us," some of them say. And Jennifer knows they are wrong. She's just a friend waiting to happen. But how do you change someone's mind? She's not sure, but she's not about to give up. All right, next page. Jennifer and her family hear about activists who are working to make sure that people with disabilities have access to public places like schools. They want to know more, so they attend a strategy meeting. And Jennifer has never seen anything like it. The room is full of grown-ups with all sorts of disabilities. Some use wheelchairs and some use canes, and none of them are sitting around waiting for things to change. They are shouting, laughing, and planning a big protest to get the wheelchair lifts on buses. Show them a picture. See, they're all figuring out how they can make a change, right? They turn to Jennifer and they ask her if she wants to go, and she says, what do you think she says? Yes, she wants to go. All right, so she's going to go to this protest to help people with disabilities. Downtown, Jennifer rolls into the microphone and tells her story. She leads marchers through the streets chanting, "The people united will never be defeated." Can you guys chant that for me? The people united
will never be defeated.
One more time.
The people united.
Yeah, that's it. All right. It feels good to speak up for what she believes in. She can't wait to go again. She's raring to go. She protests in Phoenix and rolls through the streets of San Francisco and waves signs in Montreal. And the demonstrations don't always change people's minds, but Jennifer is used to that. Show them the picture of that stuff. All right, so she's going all over the country protesting for disability rights. Even when her neighborhood school finally agrees that she can attend, she and her classmates with disabilities aren't allowed to eat in the cafeteria with everyone else, and that hurts, but she keeps going. They probably don't have the space for people with wheelchairs in the cafeteria, right? That's no fun. All right, next page. All right. Working with other activists revs her up. She can't help but noticing that she and her sisters are usually the only kids there raising their voices. Still, she can't leave all the protesting up to the grown-ups. She knows firsthand that children with disabilities get ignored too. So she keeps speaking up. When Jennifer is 8, activists propose a new law called the Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA. The law insists schools, governments, and businesses make room for all people, including those with disabilities, but ironically excludes all houses of worship, including churches. Jennifer feels like dancing. If it passes, it means sidewalks with curb cuts, buildings with ramps in addition to steps. Do we have a ramp in addition to our steps? Yeah. Right, over there? Because we wanted to make sure that our building was accessible for people with disabilities. Yeah. We're going to go practice? Okay, good. Where are we? It means Jennifer and her classmates with disabilities can finally go to the cafeteria with everyone else for lunch. Oh, yeah, picture. All right. Jennifer and her family watch the news for updates on the ADA, but reports never mention it. She switches off the TV in frustration, wishing she could change reporters' minds on what's worth talking about. Instead, the Keelans get their updates about the ADA when their activist friends call, and it's bad news. Members of Congress say that the law is too complicated and too expensive. Do you think members of Congress still say that today? Adults? Yep. Yeah, they sure do. It's a lame excuse. They say it's just not worth it. Sounds familiar. Since the news station is ignoring people with disabilities, Jennifer and her friends are determined to find another way to make Congress hear their voices. It's go time, and her family buys plane tickets to Washington, D.C. There's her with her family. All right. As they march downtown Pennsylvania Avenue, Jennifer has never shouted louder. What do we want? The ADA, they say. When do we want it? Now. Very good. What do we want? The ADA. When do we want it? Now. Very good. Oh, you guys are... Oh, man. Finally, they reach the U.S. Capitol, but stop. There is a mountain of steps to block Jennifer and other people using wheelchairs from the building where Congress makes laws. And the grown-ups slide out of their chairs and start pulling themselves up the steps. They will make sure the members of Congress know they are there, right? So the Congress has this lot of steps. How many steps are here? 4? There's like, I don't know, how many are up there? Like 30? It's like super high. It's like 2 stories of steps. And Jennifer's heart races. This is what they've been shouting about. She says, I want to climb the steps. But stop. Even the grown-ups who are protesting think she's too young. You can't do it. Jennifer knows it's not about her. It's about her friends at school who were shut out of the cafeteria at lunch. And it's about millions of other kids she's never met who get stopped at every turn. Jennifer wants to speak up for all the kids with disabilities who aren't there. She says, I need to climb the steps. She slides out of her wheelchair and scoots along the sidewalk to the bottom of the stairway and puts her hands on the first step. She hauls herself up. Tiny bits of dirt and rock dig into her skin, and she drags herself up another step. The crowd roars. Reporters surround her with cameras and microphones recording the gutsy climb. I'll take all night if I have to, she vows, and she keeps heaving and hauling and dragging herself up the stairs. She keeps going all the way to the top. Pictures of Jennifer climbing the steps flash around the world. Reporters start talking about the ADA, and the members of Congress see the news and listen to activists, and guess what they finally do? They pass the ADA. Laws like the ADA don't change overnight. Entrances have to be rebuilt, right? We just redid ours so we can add our ramp. Sidewalks have to be redesigned, buses re-engineered, and slowest of all, minds have to change. So Jennifer will continue shouting and waving signs and organizing and explaining. She will continue fighting for what she knows is right. Jennifer has places to go, and nothing will stop her. Show her this picture. All right, and then I want to turn the page for you. Here's an actual picture for you all to see of Jennifer. There's a real life one, right? It's real. Climbed up the stairs. Right? So what happened to Jennifer? She couldn't get into the buildings because some buildings aren't made for people with wheelchairs or disabilities. And in fact, one of the sad things is our building, because it was built so long ago, isn't made for people with disabilities. If you were a little kid in a wheelchair, could you go up to the RE classrooms up on the second floor? No, there's no place for you to learn, right? There's no place for you to be. So one of the things that we want to do as a fellowship is we're going to build a whole new addition over there, and some of the things that are going to be in there are classrooms for kids with disabilities who can get in there, handicapped accessible classrooms. So that's one of the things we're doing on that. We're trying to build a building that is inclusive, that stands up to our mission of welcoming all people, right? Regardless of, yeah, you can close it, regardless of their abilities, right? Race or gender, identity, right? So we're going to have some gender neutral. We're going to create a space that is open for everyone. That's really important, right? And because of kids like Jennifer and kids like you. Hey, can I tell you another fun little story real quick? Last year, you guys drew pictures of what the playground should look like. And guess what? The adults listened to it. And that's why the playground looks the way it did, because they listened to you guys. But you guys got to keep standing up for what you want, right? For what you believe, because grown-ups will listen to kids when they get loud, right? All right. Very good. So you guys can go off to your classes. I'll be around with some treats and things about the building, and we'll let the adults get back to their thing.
Okay, great. I just wanted to remind everyone that our offering this morning is split between our fellowship and UU Ministry for Earth. Thank you for your generosity. It makes a difference.
house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house. A house of warmth, a house just right, a house to keep away the darkest night. A house of hope, a house of peace, a house where all within may safely sleep. We will build this house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house. A house that's built to remind us all of how we are connected, whether great or small. A house of dignity, a house without shame, a house with walls bearing all our names. We will build this house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house. It seems so simple, it seems so sweet. A roof above you, enough food to eat. In this richest nation, on this world of cares, how much do we need to have enough to share? We will build this house with the strength of our arms, with the love of our neighbors. We will build this house. We will build this house as a shelter from all harm. With the open door of justice, we will build this house.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Mary Jo and Chris. What a treat. I do like it. And actually, so evocative in this time. To those who are new and to those that come every Sunday, I have come to appreciate all the houses in which we have worship together and how each one offers our spirits the opportunity to grow in different ways. We were separated from coronavirus, and at one time we all had to be in our separate homes coming together, and there we were able to take advantage of some of what's possible when it was like a worship movie, if you will. And that was a certain kind of special way to be together. And I could actually chat with you, which I can't do right now, on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook channel. Although last week I was away and got to do that. And there was a different special way of being together. And no matter what the weather, we knew that we could show up with one another. Right now, we're meeting outdoors and online, and so it's a little more low-tech in this space, but it is full of heart, and it is full of wind, and it is full of glorious sky and glorious sun, and it is full of folks on Facebook and YouTube and all of us here together. And soon, we'll go inside, back where we have our technology, and we'll be able to have high tech and in person and online together, and we'll continue to learn in so many different ways. And so I celebrate all of the houses we build, temporary ones like our sanctuary outdoors, and the permanent ones that we aspire to build together on this property. The house behind me has stood since 1912. And we have met in this building since 1957. We will build houses of worship, of justice, of community for all ages, ever seeking to be a part of liberation and love. Let us enter a time of reflective meditation and prayer. We pause at the edge of another week to make space for the deepest questions, the deepest aches, and the widest aspirations contained in our hearts. We gather to form a community here in Morristown that stretches round the globe, to participants in Japan and Hong Kong, Washington State, and right here in people's homes in New Jersey. We gather to form a beloved community and to enter into the sacred work of caring for more than just ourselves, of making space for nourishing our bodies, minds, and spirits, and then going forth and creating a world where all are nourished, where all bodies, spirits, and minds matter. And we proclaim in this space that Black lives matter, that trans lives matter, that people along the disability continuum, their lives matter. We center those on the margins, and that we know in doing so, we actually make a difference for all lives. For after all, a wheelchair ramp helps someone who has a walker or a wheelchair, but really it is a universal ramp. For every parent with a stroller is aided by the same. May we grow in our ability to love and to make a difference. All these things and so many others are our prayers, meditations, and yearnings. Amen, and blessed be, and may it be so. And now we invite you to join our singers in a special song that was written by Daryl Courtley. It is called "To Love" is the title of the song, and it has our 8th principle in mind, which we adopted last June. Will you look at your sheets and join in humming or singing or drinking in these special words?
On a journey, we're traveling to wholeness. We're building on the pathways of those who came before us. We are called to justice, freedom, equality, truth, compassion, and all.
Wonderful, wonderful. Daryl Courtley is one of our most prolific composers in the congregation, and we are truly blessed. On the first Sunday in June, I shared with you that 66 of our over 1,000 Unitarian Universalist congregations around the country had already passed the newly proposed eighth principle. And here are the words of that principle. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote, that goes before each principle, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. On that day, June 6th, we voted to adopt the eighth principle for ourselves, and we were not alone. We are not alone. In fact, the number of congregations who have passed that eighth principle has nearly doubled so far in 4 months. There are now 122 congregations that have adopted it. There is a growing movement in our faith to name our personal, communal, and societal commitment to ground our lives in the sacred moral work of building the beloved community. We proclaim our commitment to learn how to speak and act in ways that honor diversity and advance the collective liberation of our fellow Unitarian Universalists and of all of humanity. This isn't the first time that we have articulated and staked a new ethical claim on our spiritual lives. In the 1980s, we added our commitment to the web of life by adopting the seventh principle at a UUA General Assembly. We covenant to affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Ultimately, wording in the eighth principle, wording that references dismantling racism and other oppressions and building the beloved community, will need to go before our National General Assembly and be added to Article 2 of our UUA bylaws to hold the same revered place in our covenant currently held by the seven principles. The eighth principle project is a grassroots movement that we have joined to show our support for that critical healing change. And by the way, the eighth principle movement was born out of this region, the Central East region of the Unitarian Universalist Association, which stretches from the Metro New York area down to the DC area and over to Ohio. I point this way, but I'm not sure what direction Ohio is in. In some ways, it's not surprising that it arose here because of the tireless work of a respected African-American elder and lifelong UU in our movement, Paula Cole Jones, a member of All Souls in DC. And because many of us work and live and go to school in diverse communities in this area of the country. For example, our Morris School District is less than 50% white and has had a stated legal and ethical commitment to integration and diversity for 50 years now. And it was members of our congregation who fought for that to be celebrated and honored in the school here. And in fact, Clark Olson, one of my predecessors, chaired the lay committee that helped advise the school. And a lawyer, Stephen Wiley, who was part of our congregation, was the lawyer who helped wage the legal battle. And I'll mention I'm grateful to be able to serve on the Equity and Inclusion Alliance of the school district as a community leader. and grateful that my child has the chance to learn and grow in the fertile soil of a school where when they talk about racism, children are able to share insights from their perspectives in ways that promote a meaningful exchange. And I want to share with you that my life has been changed for the better by participating in conversations about race and anti-racism with Unitarian Universalists from diverse backgrounds in our congregation and across the country. Eventually, our whole country will be like the schools here in Morristown and Morris Township. White people will no longer be in the majority. That makes some anxious and some angry. On January 6th of this year, we saw people storm the Capitol building who felt they were on a mission to take back the country. But our country is not a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant country, and it never was. Those sadly European ancestors who arrived on these shores misused the Bible to advance the notion of the doctrine of discovery, a religious doctrine that was sanctioned by the Pope, and claimed that God had brought them here and given them the land and that it was predestined. No, this is possibly a religious, but a morally corrupt view. There were already numerous indigenous ancestors who had been here for centuries, who lived off the land and whose religion taught them to be in right relationship with the earth, our mother, who is sacred, a religious view that is morally full-hearted. Some of the earliest congregations planted in the Northeast, especially in the environs of New England, ultimately became Unitarian Universalist. The stories of Europeans who forced, coerced, or even accidentally motivated indigenous peoples to move and make way or die is our story. And the story of indigenous people who were displaced and who died is also our story, told by Unitarian Universalists who are indigenous, and it is a story we must all share. Unitarian Universalism is not a faith made up of just white people with a Protestant background or even Catholic background, even though that may be the case for the majority. Yet, like the story of our country, that is changing. We, the Morristown UU Fellowship and the wider UU Faith, are and have been for a long while a multiracial, religiously plural, and socioeconomically diverse community. We are people located all along the ability and disability continuum. We are heterosexual, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and all along the sexuality continuum. We are boys, men, women, girls, trans, and non-binary. We are multicultural and share in a multiplicity of traditions, languages, music, and stories. We are many expressions of humanity. We are one faith. We are a community of communities. We have spiritual work to do to continue to truly open our religious tradition to the wisdom found in the growing diversity of Unitarian Universalists. And the eighth principle challenges us to reckon with our history and the promise we hold to become an increasingly anti-racist institution. But it goes beyond race, and it invites us to dismantle all forms of oppression and to engage in that promise of collective liberation. And I'll give you one tiny example from this week. We need a religious imagination for collective liberation because too often the culture out in the world tells us that we should be out for ourselves. And so this week, when I was speaking at an event around domestic violence, a man who was unfortunately hurling a side conversation from the side said, "Aren't you from that gay church?" And I said, My congregation has people who are heterosexual, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and all along the sexuality continuum. For him, it is a one thing, but for us, we advocate for all, and we learn how to do it better. We seek a world for not only our own individual wellness, but the well-being of all, and that's important. But we do have work to do, even as we may be ahead on some issues. On all issues, we have much to learn. Let me name just a couple of examples. I spent the whole week offering pastoral care to one of our African American elders who speaks of her decades in this congregation as life-saving. She shares how arriving here was a homecoming and a salve at a time when she desperately needed it. When she was hospitalized, she called for her pastor and her people to show up, for us to come be by her side. Occasionally, I have heard some people in this community describe us as a white congregation, period. When you say that, you erase the experiences of the people of color, the children and adults who are among us. We are multiracial. Yes, a majority white, but we are not white. I also invite us, as the 8th principle does, to reflect expansively beyond race around the diversities we hold in our community now, and also who we will invite, welcome, and become in the future. The theme of this year is Keep on Moving Forward and Sigamos Adelante en Español. Our chosen theme song incorporates English and Spanish. When I was in Trenton, advocating with Wind of the Spirit and others for widening access to driver's licenses, a woman from our community asked me, "Your congregation seems to reflect everything I believe. Pastora, would you be willing to host a service in Spanish for my friends and family who I believe could find a home there?" My answer is sí, yes, but it is not mine to answer. What would we need to do to prepare to welcome and hold such a service? Are we ready for the changes that might entail? When would be the time to add such a service? Where do we begin? Maybe we begin with headsets that offer translation. At our Morris Area Together meetings, when our congregation, which is one of the co-founders of Morris Area Together, is involved, we make sure that we offer Spanish translation. Frequently, Carol Ruiz, one of our members, is doing the translating, amongst others. Did you know that about a third of the children in the Morris School District arrive speaking Spanish and later learn English? What will Morristown be like in 10, 20, and 50 years, and how will we reflect that reality? What about people who are deaf or blind? How accessible are our services, our religious education programs, our justice programs here and online? Following the Jewish High Holy Day services we held on Zoom together, someone asked me, could we please do a better job of closed captioning, and how grateful they were to be here, because not all Unitarian Universalist congregations are as religiously diverse as we are, and they were longing to be able to access the ministry we offer. One thing I hear people reflect occasionally is this sentiment, and I know people mean many different things by it, but language matters. I came here to find people who think like me or are like me. What is the story behind those words? Do we mean open-minded? Well, then let's say open-minded. I have rarely heard a person of color enter a Unitarian Universalist space to say they're specifically looking for people like them. Let's be more mindful. we have a song which says, if you like our music, we can join our song. And I know it's metaphorical, and I do love that song. But I carry the pain of when I led a campus ministry group while I was an assistant minister in New York, when the students shared that they wanted to see music that reflected their lived experience, the then music director turned them down. Ouch. We continued to meet at NYU, but they didn't want to come back. What if you don't like the music? What if it doesn't represent you? Are you welcome still? How about if you like our movement, you can join our song? To be truly welcoming, we must open to the ways that we must be changed by new people. We must widen the we who decides who we are, what music we sing, what language we speak, what traditions we honor. And we are absolutely on that eighth principle journey. I loved the transformation that happened right before the pandemic when a member of our worship team, Araj Mohabalian, challenged us around what a sanctuary looks like. Of course, we've been stretched in many ways since then, but he shared that as a person coming from Iran and from a Muslim background, there was no beautiful rug or carpet. And so we engaged in a conversation about the messages that let newcomers and people of all backgrounds know we have a sanctuary. And now we have a beautiful rug in the front of our sanctuary from the town where he grew up in, a woven, sacred tapestry that says, welcome to this sacred space. So today, following the service, we have a fair where we are imagining a congregation for the future that I believe this building project is directly connected to our eighth principle. And you're going to hear more from Paul, just a short reflection from him, but I want to just lift up two things. It will be sustainable and green. The Green Earth Ministry asked that we not demolish this building and that we not leave, because that would be one of the least green things possible. And so we must plan a new roof. And that's $400,000. And we have $500,000 of projects in the addition that make it green and sustainable for generations to come. And the second thing I want to lift up is an accessibility and inclusion. Yes, the entire new addition will be accessible to people with strollers and wheelchairs and canes and the like. And the new meeting room, the new fellowship hall is being designed with sound issues in mind for people who are hard of hearing, and with technology to help us with closed captioning and to support the needs of the deaf community as well as the blind community. Even the bathrooms are being designed with gender identity in mind and the needs of families for privacy. And it is a participatory campaign. Today, we're not asking anyone to pledge. Today, we're just asking you to find out more about what our plans are for the future. And we hope that everyone will participate at all different levels. That is exactly how we got to this place. So let all of us, in all the ways we can, embody the eighth principle and to work for collective liberation here in our community, here even in our very building, and out there in the world we are a part of. It is a bright vision, and we are joined by Unitarian Universalists across the country. When someone asks, gosh, this feels like a religion where I could find a home, will you accept all of me? Let us say a resounding yes. May it be so. Let us sing together in Draw the Circle Wide. And by the way, if you are a visitor, you may not know this, but this is the 5th capital campaign we've had in 66 years. So if you're visiting for the first time today, just know that.
I'm gonna have to read yours.
No problem. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone. We'll stand side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone. We'll stand side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone. Standing side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone. Standing side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone. We'll stand side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone. Standing side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone. Standing side by side. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle. Draw the circle wide.
Be seated. And now the fair part starts. Paul Firm's going to come forward and kick off our fair. And I'll just mention, for parents, you'll pick up your children in about 10 minutes. Paul's reflection is nowhere close to that. And then we encourage everyone, parents and children, to check out all the booths and to really find out about everything that's going on. And without that, I hand it to Paul.
Thank you so much, Allison. Hi, my name is Paul Firm. I am honored to be working with Kathy Solo, who is likely holding our balloons together and our tents from blowing away, and Shari Lowe, who's in Washington, D.C. with her grandchildren today and hopefully probably online. It is just to be wonderful on this journey with you all with the Capital Campaign. Reverend Alison Miller, David, Snedden and our beautiful graphics about moving forward this year. Gateways, my wife Helene, who is involved in every aspect of this campaign, and really all of you, of course. Today is really a milestone on our journey and in our campaign, and it's really, of course, due to the amazing events of the last month that we are now deeper roots, wider wings, moving forward. To take a moment after the service to join us, enjoy the fall campaign, the fall fair in the parking lot. We have hot cider, which I definitely need at this point, sitting here in the shade. Cupcakes, hot coffee. Visit the booths where you can learn and discuss details, and we have all sorts of folks there really hoping that you'll come and engage them, and marvel at the plans we have to finish our campaign and to really finish the transformation of this campus that we've talked so much about this year. Thanks to Laurent, of course, for helping our campaign be a priority this fall. I mean, we had a big gift, and that big gift has kind of changed the calendar around for the year, but in a very good way, right? And also thanks to Jean Kraft, who's a new board member, and she wrote this beautiful note to us about the journey we're on and really connected it to moving forward. And I'm thinking about the journey and all the unexpected twists and turns we've had along the way. It's been really, really phenomenal. A couple steep hills to climb, as you'll recall. And I remember, if you don't mind, let me just take us back to 2012. I was actually a board president at the time. It was my last meeting, and we voted that day to stay here in this mansion. And I'll never forget the standing ovation that we had that day, because there were some big decisions being made. It's an expensive journey. We knew it would be, but we really wanted to stay, and we made big plans and we made big commitments to restore our mansion and build this hall that you just heard so eloquently. I mean, you know what Nick said. That's kind of basically what I'm trying to get across here. What Nick said to the kids. That's what we're trying to do. And then just 2 years later, in 2014, we had kind of scoped our project. We had a pretty clear sight of where we were heading. And our board president at the time was Nina McCormick, who was a development person, who said, this is a big lift, but this is kind of how we do it. We just have to be serious about our campaign. Paul, you're a chemist. Why don't you join us and become the campaign chairman? So I don't know how that happened, but the initial plans were completed, and we started seeing this accessibility and the excitement of what we were doing, and the project honoring our founders, honoring all the people who came before and really had the vision to give us this place, and the youth who are growing up here and we know will need a place in years to come. And that was 2014. And then there were some twists and turns. It was 2018, after some serious delays and some unexpected turns, where we embarked on Deeper Roots, Wider Wings, Our Resilience Rising. And that was a campaign theme that Alison really evoked to help us feel that, yeah, we're resilient and we can do this. And yeah, there were some turns and twists. But with that kickoff of that campaign, we built this parking lot. We've transformed this oval. We've done a playground. It's really amazing what we've accomplished in that time. And we had a ribbon cutting in the fall of 2019, and we were motoring down the road, and then something happened, I guess, in 2000, right? I mean, so what a story we've had in 2020 as the pandemic just said, put the brakes on, take care of each other, figure out how to join the virtual world and start live streaming, and just really take care of yourselves and take care of each other. So thank you. I mean, it's really been a crazy journey, but thank you for being there. And that very important part, I think for all of us, this has been an amazing year and a half to just help each other out along the way. And then a month ago, on September 12th, Jihan Chu really, and his family, flew from Hong Kong to say, look, and there was a lot of work behind this, but mostly they flew here to say thank you. I mean, you don't know me, most of you. I was here 40 years ago as a little kid, but I just want to thank you so much. I mean, it was such an honor to work with them and to have them basically say, no, don't thank us. We're here to thank you. And we would be honored to give you $2 million to anchor your campaign, because we love to invest in philanthropic things, and this is a great investment. This is going to make a difference in the world. So all the wonderful things they did that day, but somehow the things that I kept writing about and thinking about are the kindness and the appreciation, just their words that it's our honor to give back. Thank you for all the things that you've done for us. That's why we're here. A really lovely day, right? So Jihan did have one further hope and challenge for us, and his hope was that his gift would give us energy to supercharge our campaign and to help, as he said, let's get this project done for you, for us all. So today, I would say let's celebrate this new energy. We definitely have it. Deeper roots, wider wings, moving forward. Thanks again, David, for capturing it in this graphic. We are moving forward. We do have one more hill to climb for sure. That's what you can learn more about it at the fair today. We need to raise $2 million more to finish all of the things we want to do here. And with the new timeline we have and the new extensions and the new basically starting construction now, we have from now until 2025 to raise the funds. We'll be building along that line, but in terms of your donations through 2025, we sure have. And on behalf of the campaign, I'll close now and let you go have your hot cider, but there's one more really exciting announcement to make, and that the members really have been supercharged. In the last month, between September 12th and October 12th, just this week, we've raised $606,000 to go into the campaign. So we're almost, I mean, it's amazing, really amazing. So we're almost a third of the way there, just within a few dollars. And really, for this $2 million to raise the $8 million, that will be the full campaign that we're raising in the course of this campaign. So from today, we need $1.4 million more. I'm still your campaign chair, so that number is stuck in my head. But we know we can do this. And Jihan really hoped, he had one fun thought, that 100% participation is the energy and the feeling that will make us all get there. And he left saying, really 100% participation is really important. I'm just one stone in the pile. We need a big pile. So his stone is big, mind you, but we all are just one stone. So I have some stones out in my booth, so come put a stone on the pile for me and join us on this great journey in our fellowship lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. This chemist got asked because he's an incredibly generous and great guy. And I want to remind you that we raised the first $2.3 million we raised by people giving everywhere from hundreds of dollars to six-figure gifts. So really, it is everyone. When it comes to that low-flow, environmentally flushable toilet, right? The low-flow toilet, that difference is just a few $100s. So, every dollar makes a difference, from visionary hall to first-floor glass rooms to every last low-flush toilet. So go find out what's going on. And if you're new, I'd love to meet you following the service. And let us go forth into this glorious fall day, and go forth at home into the glorious fall day there, if it's fall where you are. And let us celebrate. Let us recommit to the beloved community, and let us grow in body, heart, mind, and spirit into that beloved community Dr. King preached about. May it be so. Let's celebrate with cider and cupcakes and asking good questions of the Gateway Task Force folks. Bye to folks online. See you at 12:30. I'm going to do a tour around the grounds with you, so you can ask your questions too. The Coffee Hour Zoom, a tour at 12:30.